buy at accunet.com.
Your trusted and relevant source for news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 9:02, it's 68 degrees, mostly sunny, slight chance for afternoon showers today and high around 76. Clear and cool tonight. Open the windows down to 62. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Adam Roberts. President Joe Biden set to make an address in the Oval Office in prime time tonight, detailing what led him to step aside in the 2024 presidential election. ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang also says the president will outline what the remainder of his presidency will look like.
Biden still has 6 months left of his presidency, and he says he's determined to do everything he can to accomplish his goals both at home and overseas. That includes trying to lower costs for Americans and ending this war in Gaza. The president is still planning to meet with Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu at the White House tomorrow.
You'll be able to hear the president's speech in full tonight with coverage starting at 7 on WTMJ. You heard it alluded to there. Today, Israel's prime minister will address the joint session of Congress.
Benjamin Netanyahu's address to Congress comes as thousands of protesters gather around the Capitol. Americans, Israelis, and the families of hostages denouncing the deadly war in Gaza and demanding a ceasefire. Inside the chamber, dozens of Democratic lawmakers boycotting the prime minister's speech. Netanyahu says he's come to lay out what he calls Israel's just war against Hamas. He's expected to highlight Iran's role in the multi-front attacks against Israel. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Vice President and Democratic presidential hopeful Kamala Harris will not be in attendance for the prime minister's speech today, instead on the campaign trail in Indiana. Time for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. At this hour, not a great start for the majors. The Dow and NASDAQ both down over 300 points respectively this morning. The Dow sitting at 40,022 while the NASDAQ is at 17,646. And the S&P 500 also down big this morning, 73 points in the red to 5,483. Get an honest opinion of where you are financially and where you're headed. Work with a fee-only fiduciary. Start at annexwealth.com. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Times 904.
This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, and I want to talk about exactly what we do. When you come here, you're going to get 2 shots with 2 very small needles. One will be a medication called Toradol, which is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, completely different from a standard steroid or cortisone injection. This medication is safe and a great pain reliever. The other will be hyaluronic acid, which is a naturally occurring fluid found in all of our joints. What hyaluronic acid does is it helps recoat the inside surfaces to provide cushioning and lubrication. It helps slow down the osteoarthritis process to a point where patients may not need surgery. All of this combined with using our state-of-the-art Ultra G machine developed by NASA has produced profound results. What we do works. And the best part about this is that insurance covers most of our patients' treatments. Go to Rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ Steve Scafidi. Yet another strong storm rolled through Oak Creek in South Milwaukee, causing actual damage at my house. Thankfully, I knew exactly what to do. I called my friends Jeff and Jake at Loyal Family Renovations, and Jeff came by to assess the damage. If your home has suffered storm damage, don't leave it up to the out-of-towners. Loyal Family is family-owned, and the loyalty belongs to their customers. Contact them today for a free damage inspection, and they'll help make your home remodeling dreams a reality. LoyalFamilyRenovations.com.
The Steinhafels Buy More, Save More sale is back. Take up to $300 off of your bedroom, dining, sofas, home office, and so much more. Use Steinhafels 60-month financing to make your dream room even more affordable. Shop in-store or online at steinhafels.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. A series win is on the line this afternoon for the Brewers and Cubs as they meet in the rubber match of their 3-game series at Wrigley Field. Our coverage starts at 12:35 on WTMJ. And Packers quarterback Jordan Love still a non-participant in training camp while his contract negotiations continue. Checking the roads, your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving, time saver traffic. Lots of exclamation marks up on the map. No crashes at this point, and no lane blockages either. We do have some slow spots. 894 west from the Mitchell to Forest Home is slow through the construction, as is 94 east and west from 76th to 35th Streets, and 43 north and south from Center Street up to about Hampton.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
Be our eyes on the road. Report accidents, slowdowns, and road conditions to the WTMJ Hall Volkswagen traffic tip line at 414-238-9329.
Your WTMJ forecast for today, mostly sunny. We'll see a chance for afternoon showers late today, a high of 75. Clear and cool tonight, 62. Then mostly sunny Thursday through Sunday with highs in the upper 70s to mid-80s. Right now in downtown Milwaukee, it's mostly cloudy and 68. I'm Adam Roberts, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Times 908.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. In for Steve Scafidi, here's Tracy Johnson.
Should we talk about the government?
Good morning, Wisconsin. I'm Tracy Johnson in for Steve Scafidi for this Political Power Hour, and I am feeling energized. We have a great show planned for you today. A number of great guests joining on the phone and in studio. So we're going to get right to it with our first guest. Welcome, Congressman Brian Stile.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
You are in Washington, D.C. right now, correct?
I am. It was nice to be in Wisconsin last week. Looking forward to the weekend. But we have Benjamin Netanyahu coming in for a joint session of Congress early afternoon.
Well, tell me a little bit more about that. That's getting a significant amount of coverage for who's going to be in the room and who's not going to be in the room. What do you expect to hear?
I'm looking forward to our strongest ally in the Middle East coming and speaking directly, as they've been under attack and under threat from terrorists, in particular, going all the way back to October. It's an opportunity for Prime Minister Netanyahu to walk through the risks and challenges that Israel uniquely faces, and an opportunity for us to stand in solidarity with our ally. You're exactly right. Not everyone is going to be in the room. There's a handful of Democrats that have taken effectively a radical position and aren't standing with our ally Israel. I think that's too bad. But I think it's a huge opportunity for the overwhelming majority of us who are showing up to show solidarity with our ally Israel.
Well, and we see that Vice President Kamala Harris is going to meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu. We see that former President Trump is going to meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu. What do you make of this, and do you think we're going to see any outcome from this in terms of peace in the Middle East?
I think it's incredibly disappointing that Vice President Harris has chosen not to fulfill her responsibilities as President of the Senate to sit and join in this joint session with our strongest ally in Israel. I think it's an incredible statement of weakness in her position in foreign policy in the Middle East. Good she's going to meet with him, but she should be doing it in her formal capacity. I do think there's a huge opportunity here to make sure that America is showing strength and solidarity with Israel as they continue their fight against the terrorist group Hamas. Nobody should forget that Hamas broke the truce. They came in, attacked innocent Israeli civilians, took innocent Israeli civilians captive, including U.S. citizens who are held captive currently in Israel. This war is about ending the terrorist threat from Hamas and releasing the hostages. And so I think it's really important that we show strength, in particular in a hostile region in the world.
I want to turn now to Kamala Harris. I mean, she is now the presumptive Democrat nominee. We're coming off of a great week here in Milwaukee with the RNC celebrating unity. Now the Republicans finally know who their candidate is. What do you think the messaging is going to be moving forward now that we're 100 days out?
Well, the policies of Vice President Harris are the same as the policies of the Biden-Harris administration. And at the end of the day, that's what this election is about. It's the Biden-Harris administration that unleashed unbelievable inflation in the United States through incredibly reckless spending, in particular during the first 2 years of Democratic one-party control. Inflation that we're still struggling with as families struggle to afford the things that they need. It's the Biden-Harris administration that has an open border policy. They named Vice President Harris the border czar, and Vice President Harris has allowed the border to remain open. And the real-world impacts of that in a place like Wisconsin is not only a flow of migrants that challenge the resources in cities like Whitewater, where 1,000 migrants have moved in a city of 15,000, but it also shows up in the number of fentanyl deaths that we have in the state of Wisconsin. Over 1,000 people died last year of a fentanyl-related overdose death. That's a drug that's being developed in China, produced in Mexico, and trafficked into the United States. When we talk about the importance of securing the border, it has a direct and real impact on the lives of people in Wisconsin, and the Harris policies are exactly the opposite of what we should be doing. So if we're talking about policies, not much has changed from when it was Joe Biden as the figurehead, or when the insiders and elites of the Democratic Party have selected Kamala Harris. So I think overall, the discussion will stay the same.
So speaking of policies, we heard a lot from the Republican Party about the economy, about the border, about immigration, and all of that. You hear from candidate Harris, we're talking about different issues. We're talking about abortion. We're talking about child care tax credits. How do we actually come together and have a conversation about the issues that matter?
Well, I think we should have a more direct and frank conversation on the issues and move away from a lot of the personal attacks and rhetoric that we see. Mm-hmm. All of these are important topics to cover. But boy, when I tell you what I did, 5 parades on the 4th of July, or I did a town hall in Kenosha the other night, the topic that comes up time and again is the cost of living and the impact that the border is having in the state of Wisconsin. But we do robust conversations on all these topics. The more policies, the more things we're talking about as we head into the election, that's good for our democracy. I just, at the end of the day, think that the policies of the Harris-Biden administration have continued to move the country in the wrong direction.
Do you think we will see the two candidates go head-to-head? We've heard kind of from both camps, and I really can't get my head around it. Are we going to see them actually have a debate?
I hope so. At the end of the day, I'm always of the belief that a debate and a robust conversation on the issues are to the benefit of our democracy. Our strength in our democracy is not that we all agree on everything, it's that we're able to have an adult conversation about the challenges we face and about the policies we think that solve those challenges. And at the end of the day, the American people decide the direction that we want to go. So I always think we're best served when we're actually having that conversation. And I'm hopeful that a debate will occur on the policies.
So speaking of possible bipartisanship, we actually saw Democrats and Republicans come together earlier this week around the resignation of Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle. What do you expect to see there, and how do we move forward as we try to staff this very important department for democracy?
We have a couple things at play. One, we need to get a full after-action report as to exactly what went wrong. We obviously know, step one, that an individual with a gun was allowed to get on a roof of a building with a sight line to the president with the intent to kill him. How did that actually occur? Where was the breakdown in either communication, policy, standards? And we need to hold those individuals accountable. There's multiple groups now that are doing that review. The United States House of Representatives is forming a bipartisan commission to conduct that investigation as well. And then we need to take action as we get that report back. Removing the head of the Secret Service, I think, allows us a culture change inside the Secret Service. So as we are in tandem trying to determine the exact cause, meaning the true breakdown that allowed this incident to occur, we also need to work to change the culture, because at its core, there's a cultural issue that this incident occurred in the first place.
Well, lots to unpack there, and we all hope that this moves very quickly. Congressman Brian Stile, thank you so much for joining us here today on WTMJ, and thank you for all your work representing the state of Wisconsin.
Thanks for having me on.
Have a great day. I'm Tracy Johnson, in for Steve Scafidi. When we come back, we'll be joined by another one of our Republican representatives, State GOP Chair Brian Schimming. He will be with us next for a segment. And then after that, stick around. We have Jeremy Janine from Urban Milwaukee and Mary Spacuzza from Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. It's 9:16 on WTMJ.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Hagenson, Saturday afternoon at 1. At Creative Planning, we have an entire team working for you, including wealth advisors, CPAs, and attorneys, all working together, all in one place. Let Creative Planning show you a richer way to wealth. Visit creativeplanning.com. That's creativeplanning.com.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scafidi for Heiser Automotive. I love talking about Heiser. Right now, driving a 2023 Chevy Equinox. If you have a family, if it's just two of you, there's plenty of room. Four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, perfect for all the Wisconsin weather, and we get a lot of weather. Great fuel economy. Just check this out. 31 miles per gallon on the highway. All the great technology, auto start stop, 6-speed automatic transmission, all the technology that keeps you safe and sound, one of the great programs. Rear vision camera, lane assist, blind side monitoring, all the great things. Talking about those programs, exclusive safe and sound program on all their new and pre-owned vehicles. Vehicle exchange program, don't love it? Exchange it. Huge for consumers, especially with the ability to purchase online these days. Roadside assistance for life. Don't be caught out there. Heiser can take care of you that way. All the great programs, all the great customer service. That's why they say every day at Heiser, today is your day at Heiser.
Dan, did you know the average person spends 17 minutes a day looking for clothes in their closet?
Seriously? Just looking for clothes?
That's almost 5 days a year. It's why I love what we do, giving people time back in their day and calming the chaos.
I agree, Katie. At Inspired Closets, our 3D design software allows us to build a closet of our clients' dreams.
Inspired Closets gives you your time back.
And a lifetime warranty. Call us today or visit us at inspiredclosetsmilwaukee.com.
A wife and husband team.
Welcome back on WTMJ, the fastest hour in Wisconsin radio. I'm Tracy Johnson, your host, and we're joined now by the Wisconsin GOP party chair, Brian Schimming. Welcome.
Hey, how are you this morning?
Great. So the real question is, how are you? Have you recovered from that incredible convention here in Milwaukee?
Yeah, unbelievable. I'm so excited for Milwaukee and for Southeast Wisconsin. I mean, you bring 50,000 people together, over 16,000 media representatives from 700 outlets across the world, about a $200 million spend in Milwaukee. So as somebody who's had an office in Milwaukee on and off for years, I was just excited to see it. I heard, honestly, I was saying at our staff meeting the other day, I was kind of pinching myself because I literally didn't hear negative comments from people. And those were folks from, big convention cities, Chicago, Atlanta, Washington, New York, whatever. I mean, these are cities that do conventions like this and forget that they did it a month later. And honestly, it was really good. I had an RNC meeting the next morning, so Friday morning, talked to people from about 10 states there, and they were uniformly positive about how friendly Wisconsin people were, about how great the business folks were. It was just so exciting to walk out of there on that high. I mean, I'm a homer. I'm from Wisconsin, so I wanted it to go well for that reason too. But it was just Milwaukee will never. It's such a massive international media event with hundreds of millions of people watching over the week. So it's the best 4-day advertisement Milwaukee has ever had and will ever have, not because it's partisan, but because the whole country was watching what was going on in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
I want to move to what was happening inside the forum. Obviously, there was a lot of excitement. There was the feeling of unity. There was strong messaging across the board. Does that messaging change at all now that we know who the Democratic nominee is on the on the Democrat side?
Well, kind of in equal parts, yes and no. Yes, because it's a different person. I mean, the fact of the matter is, I had a morning news conference every morning to kind of preview the day from the media there at the convention, and I said, and I was saying, look, people know what they've had with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. As I said on a press call yesterday, Kamala Harris will be Joe Biden, the sequel. Mm-hmm. She's part and parcel of this administration, including one of the administration's biggest disasters, which has been our porous southern border, which is not just a matter of people coming over the border, but fentanyl and all the other issues, criminal issues associated with the border. So it's not a reflection on legal immigration. It's a reflection on illegal immigration, and she was the border czar. So in some ways, because it's not Joe Biden, you kind of don't have Joe Biden to kick around directly anymore. But she's been part and parcel of this administration, and I am waiting for someone in the national media to ask her the question, which is, when did you notice that Joe was deteriorating cognitively or physically? And because that's not a question she can answer honestly. But the fact, I mean, it's almost, I was saying to someone this morning, if you were to describe, Tracy, a foreign country where an aging, infirm leader gets sick and goes to a retreat to get better, goes on vacation to get better, and while he's gone, he finds out he's getting pressured to leave as the head of the country by his own people, and in a 48-hour span, he gets knocked out of office, out of running for office, and other people all assemble around the person who's replacing him. You'd say a coup happened. Well, I mean, take the parties, take the individuals out. If you heard that set of things about a foreign country, you would say they just had a coup.
Well, and that was certainly, Kamala Harris was certainly the heir apparent. I want to move now to the pick of J.D. Vance. This was a big question mark over the convention. Do you think that he is the pick that will be additive to the party, or will he double down on really the Trump policies?
Yeah, I think he'll be an additive. J.D. Vance is an interesting guy. He's got a very, very compelling personal story from when he was growing up and his family circumstances. So he's got a very compelling personal story. I like the fact that he's from the Midwest. I'm excited that we have a Midwestern person. I expect the state chairman. We will be seeing him here in Wisconsin multiple times. So I think, and he's a terribly, terribly bright guy. And so I think he's a good contrast. He'll have somebody else to debate now, apparently, when the Democrats figure out who their vice president candidate is going to be. But I'm actually excited about the ticket. And I think kind of to that larger point, Tracy, Marquette is going back out in the field today to do polling. I think what you will probably see is that she should and will, get a bump in the polling because of the change in the ticket. You're in the run-up to the Dem convention. She'll get a bump depending on who she picks for vice president. That could be a polling bump, and then they go into their convention. So they were at the point where Joe had to go, like this week, and he went. And but because they were on track to lose every single target state, every single one.
Well, that'll be very interesting to see those polls. Like you said, we'll start to see those results come out next week, and we'll see where the momentum goes. It's always about who's got the momentum in the final days of the race. Party chair for the Republican GOP, Brian Schimming, final question for you. And this is a fun question. All right, we saw, millions of people saw on the floor of the convention a bunch of people with cheese heads. What was behind that? How did you come up with that? I mean, the state of Texas has the cowboy hats. We had the cheese heads. Was that? I mean, what's the feedback from that?
So the feedback actually has been really good. What happened was that there was some question about whether we could have them on the floor because there was pretty tough restrictions on what you could bring in and out of the building. So I was out with, in fact, this is quite literally how this happened. I was out I was doing media and running back and forth. And I said to someone on my detail, I was like, God darn it. I was mad that we didn't have, something that separated the Wisconsin delegation. I said, is there any way to get that many cheese heads? Literally, we were walking over the bridge to go by Juneau and he said, let me make a call. He makes a call. I ordered 50 of them. That's a lot to get at one hit. Within an hour, they were in a truck on the way downtown. And So we had cheeseheads on the floor, and the media loved it, and people around the country loved it.
It was certainly a sight to behold. Well, congratulations to you on a great convention. We will continue to watch, and I hope you'll be back on to talk about the progress as these polls come out and this race progresses leading up to the election. Early voting starts in September. Republican Party GOP Chair Brian Schimming on WTMJ, thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Have a great day. It's 9:27 on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson, in for Steve Scafidi.
The wait is over as the Wisconsin State Fair is officially here. Big races, food on a stick, and of course, cream puffs. But that's not all. Wisconsin's Afternoon News will be live, broadcasting from the Bank 5-9 studios from 3 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Only here on News Radio 620 WTMJ.
Enjoy your ride.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scafidi for Universal Windows Direct. For every 2 windows you buy, get 2 free. Buy 2, get 2. Buy 4, get 4. Call 414-410-2000. Schedule your free in-home estimate today. For every 2 windows you buy, get the next 2 free, plus 0% financing for 60 months, 5 years. Restrictions apply. Tell them I told you to call. Get an additional $250 off your project for the last windows you'll ever need. Go to uwd.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Are you a veteran who needs assistance? Do you know a veteran who needs help? The Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs is here for Wisconsin veterans, their families, and their survivors. We can help connect veterans with services such as medical care, financial and legal assistance, housing, mental health services, substance use treatment, and more. For more information, please visit wisvets.com. That's WIS vets.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs.
It's summertime, the temperatures are hot, and so are the deals at Hiller Ford. This month is Truck Month at Hiller Ford. We are offering factory rebates of $6,000 on all remaining 2023 Ford F-150s and 0% financing on 2024 F-150s. If you're looking for a Ford Super Duty truck, we have over 30 to choose from. It's a great time to get a great deal during Truck Month at Hiller Ford. Stop in and see why so many people love to buy from Hiller Ford.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Time for another new coat of paint on your house? Get Rhino Shield ceramic coating. You won't have to paint again for 25 years guaranteed. Right now, get $1,500 off with 12 months same as cash financing. Visit rhinoshieldwis.com.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hi, I'm Susan Hiller from Hiller Ford. Does your car, truck, or SUV need a tune-up, new brakes, or battery check? Our experts in the service department do it all, on all makes and models. We offer free pickup and delivery, and we even have a mobile service that can come to your location and perform some services right at your home or office. That makes it easy for you to keep doing what you want to do and get your vehicle serviced. Give us a call at Hiller Ford and let us be of service to you.
Joining us after the news, Jeremy Janane from Urban Milwaukee and Marispaucusa from Journal Sentinel. The news is next.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. On Capitol Hill testifying right now, FBI Director Christopher Wray, who is discussing the near assassination of former President Donald Trump. In Washington, protesters on the streets demonstrating against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's speech today before both houses of Congress. ABC's Matt Gutman with more.
Notably absent from today's address is going to be Vice President Harris. She says she has another commitment, but she will meet Netanyahu later this week, as will President Biden. And Netanyahu is set to travel down to Mar-a-Lago to meet with former President Trump at the end of the week.
Right now, Benjamin Netanyahu is at the memorial for Senator Joe Lieberman, the first Jewish American nominated to be vice president of the United States. Tonight, President Biden will deliver an Oval Office address to the American people, explaining why he decided to drop his re-election bid. House Republicans are urging during a closed-door meeting not to use overtly racist and sexist attacks against Kamala Harris. This is ABC News.
Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Times 9:31. A search continues this morning in south central Wisconsin for a suspect in an officer-involved shooting near Baraboo that injured an officer. 32-year-old Jeffrey Miller fled from officials after an attempted traffic stop late Tuesday. Miller has ties to the both Sauk and Juneau County areas. Milwaukee police need help finding a critically missing 10-year-old. Michael Miller was last seen Tuesday night around 6 p.m. near 38th and Lancaster on the city's north side. You can see a photo of Miller on our website right now, WTMJ.com. And the United Performing Arts Fund has a new CEO. Anne-Marie Scobie-Polachek will begin at UPAF on September 3rd, succeeding Patrick Rath, who stepped down from the post in March. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Still a down start to the day for the majors. In fact, the Dow Jones in danger of falling below 40,000 points today. They're off 350 on the day so far and sit currently at 40,003. The Nasdaq is down 368 points to 17,629, and the S&P 500 is down 78 points to 5,477. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Going over the roads, your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Still just mostly some broken down vehicles scattered across the system on the shoulders and out of traffic. We do have a few slow spots. 894 west through the construction, 27 to Forest Home will be a bit slow. It's also a bit slow right now on 4145 south from just north of Silver Spring down to about, it looks like that is near Capitol Drive. We're seeing some slowdowns. No incidents connected to that, though. Just something to be aware of. And your WTMJ forecast for today, mostly sunny, a slight chance for afternoon showers, a high of 75. Clear and cool tonight down to 62. Then the next 3 days look pretty nice, mostly sunny Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Highs in the mid to upper 70s to around 83 each day. Then Sunday will be partly cloudy, warm again with a slight chance for afternoon showers and a high around 85 degrees. Right now in Oshkosh at EAA, cloudy skies and 65, 67 in clouds in Menominee Falls, and in Milwaukee, mostly cloudy and 69 degrees. I'm Adam Roberts, signing a little bit at WTMJ News Times 9:34.
With hail and high winds experienced this year in South Milwaukee, Oak Creek, and surrounding areas, Ridgetop Exteriors has been hard at work helping the community get their homes repaired. If you've experienced damage to your home, you need a local and trusted contractor. Ridgetop Exteriors' expert team specializes in navigating the insurance process so your repairs can get done. And they're happy to come out anytime for a free damage inspection. Schedule your free inspection today at ridgetopexteriors.com. Roofing, siding, windows, and doors. ridgetopexteriors.com.
Celebrate 42 years of tradition at Milwaukee's original house party. Join us on Milwaukee's beautiful lakefront, July 26th, 27th, and 28th for authentic German food, music, beer, and dancing. Experience the excitement of the Glockenspiel, Dachshund Derby, Culture Village, Mardi Gras Show, Trauchenschau, Sheep's Head Tournament, and much more. For more information, tickets, and admission discounts, visit GermanFest.com. Don't miss the fun. See you at GermanFest. Holla!
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Ridgetop Exteriors and CertaPro Painters. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
Since 1955, Geis has been the trusted garage authority in Wisconsin. Hey, don't let a busted garage door get you down. Call my friends at Geis today. With brands like CHI and LiftMaster, they have doors for every budget. They'll even build custom designs to meet your exact needs. For swift and reliable garage repair solutions, go to geisdoors.com. You can also visit their amazing showroom in Brookfield featuring hundreds of doors and openers and their custom design room.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
Welcome back to the Political Power Hour. I am your host, Tracy Johnson, in for Steve Scafidi. We are joined in studio today, Jeremy Janine, founder and president of Urban Milwaukee, and Mary Spicuzza, reporter with the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. You know, we try to cover issues because it's a political power hour, right? We cover Republican issues and Democrat issues. We cover all the issues from all the perspectives, and this is certainly a very emotional time for people as I'm watching the text line light up with people's opinions. So I want to move to the big news item of the week, and that is Kamala Harris becoming the presumptive Democrat nominee. She had a huge rally here in Milwaukee just a few hours ago. Mary, you were in the room. Tell me about the energy that you felt and what you saw there.
So people were definitely fired up. It was at West Dallas Central High School. People started filing in early. It's my understanding they had to change locations to go to a bigger venue, that it was going to be closer to downtown, I think maybe ICC. They moved to a larger venue because they had so many people who wanted to show up, and it was a fired up crowd. It was loud. It was like, hard to hear. Lots of Beyonce, blasting Freedom, which she got permission to use. And people were very excited. I think from the people we talked to, a lot of people, they liked Joe Biden. They liked his policies, but they were excited for a woman, a younger candidate, and just the energy level was very high in the room.
Did anybody question why they didn't make this change earlier, or do you think this is all going to work out? Because we've only got, 100 days left. We're going to have this DNC in Chicago, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But, is this kind of all part of the plan? And do you think this is going to work out well in terms of momentum?
They were calling it 105-day sprint until Election Day. I think, I think that it's... Democrats are not obviously a monolithic party. I think there were some people who felt like Joe Biden should have stuck it out. There were some people who felt like it was just time to pass the torch. A lot of people seemed to be ready for the change and excited about it from the people in that room.
Jeremy, when we talk about messaging, we heard Kamala Harris say, I was a prosecutor. I know people like Donald Trump who's got these convictions. What do you think is going to happen with that? Is that going to be what we see more of, and is this effective?
I think we saw the building of a stump speech yesterday, which was, I was an attorney general. I prosecuted people. Donald Trump's been prosecuted. And she went back and forth. For-profit colleges, sexual abuse, all financial crimes. And for each, she had a call and response thing there. And it seemed like she was really honing that message. And I think we'll be hearing that particular little segment over and over again. And what surprised me about that was she really is leaning into I was a prosecutor, which has, at least going back to the 2020 primary, that was part of her enthusiasm gap was, prosecutors aren't really in vogue right now. And now she's leaning full-heartedly into it.
Interesting. When we talk more about messaging and we talk about the issues, I think there has been some concern about the policies of perhaps President Biden. Is she going to carry those on? Is she leaning into that? Is she tweaking that, particularly when it comes to issues of, Israel and Palestine?
Well, it's really early right now in terms of who is Kamala Harris, the candidate. I think she's been able to define herself exactly as she wants to so far because it's just early in that cycle. So we'll see. Netanyahu is in Washington, D.C. right now. Kamala Harris is not there to join him. So that's interesting to see.
She has a meeting, though, with him separately, I believe.
I believe so, but in one of the joint addresses, she's not going to be there, I believe. And
right.
It's been a week, or 2 weeks, and things might be changing quickly. But it'll be interesting because there'll be a reaction to what the Trump-Vance campaign is saying and kind of the subtle changes that the Harris campaign makes, and then who the VP is to fill out her whole perspective.
I want to go back to 2020. Kamala Harris was the first presidential candidate to drop out of the race. I mean, are any voters expressing concern, or do you think that these 4 years serving as vice president have really given her the opportunity for people to get to know her and to love her? And for her to really say, like you said, Jeremy, this would be the first person of color who would be president of the United States.
Well, we're in the honeymoon phase right now, but if we look at the donors, they had that record $100 million, 1.1 million.
That was significant.
People. That is a lot of fired up people that came off the sidelines to come rushing in. Now, again, I go back to that honeymoon comment. How many of them are still going to be enthused 2 weeks from now? We'll see.
So fun fact is I first met Kamala Harris in San Francisco when she was a prosecutor, and I was a young cub reporter trying to interview her about something. I can't even remember what the story was, but she is not running from that record. From what I heard in her speech yesterday, she was very much leaning into the prosecutor versus the felon matchup. That was how she was framing it. It was we were calling it her opening argument because it felt like it was like she was laying out the case against Donald Trump and why she should be president instead of him. So I think we'll have to see how that plays out and how voters respond. I think Jeremy's right that this is very much the honeymoon phase. I think Democrats saw, whoever was in the room for the RNC, it was a very unified crowd. That's not to say all Republicans are unified, and there's certainly divisions. But I think in Democrats' minds, it was, we don't have time to not be unified. We got 105 days, and there's not a lot of time to have a primary. And so they're just full steam ahead with Harris at this point.
Well, this is certainly going to be a very interesting 105 days. When we come back, I want to get your thoughts on the DNC convention happening in Chicago. Mary, you might be in attendance there. And then also the vice president pick that we might see culminate in the next couple of days or weeks. Who knows? Like you said, 105 days. It's 9:42 on WTMJ. We're joined in studio, Jeremy, Janine, Mary Spacuzza.
What will medicine look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now? And who is going to lead us there? I'm Dr. Amir Ghaffari, professor of surgery and president and CEO of the Physician Enterprise at the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network. New knowledge, never settling. That's what will get us there. Because as one of the few academic health systems in the nation, we push further and train the next generation of experts. Beyond our acclaimed medical care, our research keeps advancing the field, leading to breakthrough treatments and providing the foundation for the innovations of tomorrow. You have access to all of that right here. If you have heart disease, if you have a loved one dealing with cancer, if you're just trying to keep your family healthy, this level of care is invaluable. Through the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, we are pushing ahead, giving our patients and our community the best of what academic medicine can offer today and tomorrow.
Baird has invested in the vitality of downtown Milwaukee for over a century. Hi, I'm Mary Ellen Stanek, president of Baird Funds. Baird is a world-class financial services firm. As one of downtown's largest employers, we believe in supporting the communities we serve. We're proud to call downtown our home, and even prouder to elevate our city's world-class amenities with a new convention center. Experience it for yourself. Go to MilwaukeeDowntown.com.
David Nason of The Fix-It Show here with my friend Chris Mancuso of Accurate Basement Repair.
Hey, David, did you know it's been the third wettest spring here in Milwaukee, like since 1870?
Seriously? Tell us more.
Well, it's a great time to get down in that basement and take the smell test. If it smells musty, take a flashlight, take a look around, see what you have.
As a home inspector, I know firsthand, do not procrastinate. Have your basement looked at ASAP or visit AccurateBasementRepair.com because they're not just good, they're accurate.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. The Mine Shaft in Hartford is hiring servers, bartenders, and pizza cooks. A great summer job for high school and college students. You'll make great cash. Parents and grandparents, tell your kids. Inquire today, start next week. MineShaftRestaurant.com.
Grandpa was long retired from working in the Rapids paper mill when I finished law school.
Dan Krause, Army veteran and owner of Krause Estate Planning and Elder Law Center.
Grandpa and Grandma asked me to help them get their wills set up. They worried about losing the homestead if they needed nursing care. This was my first experience with estate planning. I just loved it. During the years that I spent in the Army Reserves as a JAG attorney, I was building a small estate planning law firm. After retiring from 21 years in the Army, I've been growing the firm with 3 offices now to help more seniors like my grandparents. At Krause Estate Planning, our entire team loves helping seniors. It's a requirement in our recruiting process. We do help people of all ages, but we hope all of our clients will become seniors one day.
Krause Estate Planning and Elder Law Center in Brookfield, Madison, and Oregon. A veteran-owned law firm.
Krause Estate Planning and Elder Law Center.
Welcome back on WTMJ. We're joined in studio, Mary Spacuzza, Jeremy, Janine, discussing Kamala Harris's visit to Milwaukee yesterday and the messaging really about these two parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. What is their messaging? We saw unity. We saw talk of the border, the economy last week from the Republicans. Is their message now going to change with this candidate, Kamala Harris?
I think Jeremy and I both were in the room for much of the RNC speeches, and it did seem like that unity message they started off with did go off the rails pretty quickly. And I think we're going to see now some wrestling with how to criticize Kamala Harris, obviously trying to tie her to Joe Biden as his vice president, and kind of portraying her as like the next Joe Biden term. However, there was an interesting article that just came out about Republican leaders encouraging their members to not engage in racist and sexist attacks against Kamala Harris, which is good advice. Interesting that it has to be said. It is good advice. I think it'll be tricky to see how they criticize her without, it's not going to win over female voters. It's not going to win over black voters to be engaging in racist, sexist attacks. It'll be interesting to see how Republicans kind of criticize her moving into these next 103 days.
Well, and can't we focus on what we can do instead of cutting other people down, Jeremy?
I think the challenge will be Speaker Mike Johnson will probably be able to get Glenn Grothman and Tom Tiffany and Derek Van Orden to not talk about Kamala Harris in the way that maybe she initially was. He will not be able to stop Donald Trump going off teleprompter and doing whatever he does, and that's kind of been the worst of Trump. And to some people, that's the best of Trump, but all bets are off when Trump goes off teleprompter and what he says. And 90 minutes on Thursday of the RNC convention showed us that.
92 minutes.
So
who was counting?
So for Donald Trump, the debate with President Biden was a game changer. When we see President Trump and Vice President nominee Kamala Harris debate, could this also be a game changer? And what happens here?
It's interesting because Republicans, a lot of their attacks on Biden was his age, his energy levels. Well, now Kamala is 59, Trump is 78. So it'll be interesting to see, whether Democrats are looking at him in the way that he was looking at Biden, because certainly Harris is not, she's not low energy. I don't think even Donald Trump would say she's low energy.
Yeah, one of Joe Biden's biggest problems during the debate was the period when he wasn't speaking, that split screen up there, and you just were like, this guy looks old, and she won't have that problem.
Definitely. So we talked a little bit off air about the vice president pick. Again, I know this is very early on, but again, you only have 105 days to get to know the candidate, and maybe sometimes the less we know, the better. I don't know, sometimes for campaigns. What are we hearing now as this field narrows down?
We've got a lot of swing state governors on the list. Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Arizona. That's Senator Mark Kelly. Kentucky. I don't know how much Kentucky's actually a swing state, but we have a Democrat that's won the state there. And then Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is also on the list. Some real wild cards out there. Tony Evers, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Those are my dark horse picks.
Oh, I hadn't heard those before.
I was betting on J.D. Vance for many months, and that came true. So I'm going to roll my dice on Tim Walz.
Okay, we heard it here.
I don't think I have a guess, but I will say that as you see from J.D. Vance, the vice presidential pick is very important. We're seeing a lot of reporting about Vance's previous comments about wanting to have a national ban on abortion. We're seeing some comments he made about Indigenous Peoples Day coming up. And you really do see that who you pick as vice president can definitely detract and be a distraction from your campaign, as we're seeing from the Republicans. So I have to think that Democrats are frantically vetting their candidates to see where they stand and what they've said about everything from Israel and Palestine to, I would imagine, civil rights, and just really vetting their records at this point to not have any surprises once they pick.
Well, and that's going to be very complicated because the internet does not forget. And it's so interesting to see how this becomes either about the electoral map, or it becomes about the issues. And are we looking at addition here, or are we looking to double down on the current administration policies? All right, one more segment when we come back. It's 9:50 on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson, in for Steve Scafidi.
The Upswing with Jeff Sherman.
As you're looking at locations, what did that process look like?
Get to know what's going on in the community and businesses throughout Milwaukee and Wisconsin.
Being in our location as close as we are, we sat there and did foot traffic counts and demographic study on us, and Ben & Jerry's was blown away.
Weekdays from 10 to 11 on WTMJ. Presented by Horicon Bank, the natural choice for all your banking needs.
Hey, this is Steve Scafidi for Advent. I had some snoring issues that kept my wife up at night. That led to poor sleep and a lot of tired mornings on the radio, and nobody wants that, trust me. But it's simply, my nose wasn't working the way it should. I decided to go to Advent for a quick 30-minute visit, one of their great facilities, talk to a bunch of their doctors. They really put me at ease. After a really simple sleep study at home, in my own bed, they determined the root cause of my problem had to do with my sinuses and nasal passages in my breathing triangle. I didn't even know I had a breathing triangle, so I went to see Advent. After a short procedure done in office, I'm back to breathing well, and my wife and I are both back to sleeping through the whole night. The best sleep we've ever had, that could be you. If you struggle with restless nights like I did, take the time to see how Advent can help. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your life and your nights a whole lot better, go to AdventKnows.com, schedule an appointment today. Because Advent knows, when you breathe well, you live better.
Annex Wealth Management. Investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Forget commission sales pitches and financial products you don't need. Know the difference. Annex provides elite, comprehensive financial planning customized to who you are and what you need. AnnexWealth.com.
Gorgeous new roofs, showstopper siding, or classic brick and stonework. How about modern windows and regal doors that'll make your chin hit the floor? To a lot of people, having these things can really make them enjoy where they live. It makes them proud. But there's always one thing standing in the way. How do I make that happen? At Semperfi Roofing and Exteriors, we have excellent financing options for most people in most situations. 12 months, no interest, no payments, and exceptional rates for long-term loans that will beat your bank with no additional fees or hidden costs. You can go to SemperfiRoofing.com to apply for your pre-approval today. We want to make any project affordable to almost any person, and we've gone out of our way to find partners that can help make it happen for you. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semperfi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semperfi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semperfi.
Ask about our finance options.
A buck doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee, Waukesha, Fort Atkinson, and Jefferson. Griffin. The buck stops here. The deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Jeremy, Jimmy, Mary Spacuza, thank you so much for being here in studio today. This has been fun, and it goes so fast. I want to finish the show talking about the DNC, looking ahead, what we expect to see there. Mary, you may be there. Jeremy, you said you're going to be in Chicago. Who is going to be speaking on that stage?
That's a good question. My bets are on Bruce Springsteen. I know Mary has a guess where Kamala Harris is certainly going to be there. The question I want to see, what was absent at the RNC was the Republican legacy. There were no former presidents there. Paul Ryan wasn't there. There's a lot of Wisconsin absences. What's the DNC reach back going to look like? Are we going to see Bill and Hillary Clinton on the stage? My guess is yes.
I'm wondering if Beyonce will sing, since she gave Kamala Harris permission to use Freedom, whether she'll come and do a live performance of Freedom. So that'll be interesting to see. I think the celebrities from the RNC are going to be very different than the celebrities at the DNC.
No Hulk Hogan?
Hulk Hogan. I don't think Kid Rock will be there, but maybe we'll see Beyonce or somebody like that who will be on stage doing a live performance. It will be interesting to see, do we see a Ben Wickler who's had a lot of success in Wisconsin, mobilizing folks and winning statewide races? Will Tony Evers be there? I'm sure he'd be jazzed as heck, as he says, or H.E.
Folks.
Yes, folks. He'll be, holy mackerel. Maybe we'll see Governor Evers. I think there will certainly be some pop culture references. My Gen Z colleagues and my daughter have been explaining Brat Summer to me, and Kamala is Brat, and the whole Charlie XCX. And so Timmy and Hope have been busy explaining that to me about how, Gen Z is, there are a lot of like TikTok and different like video reels about how she's like the it girl this summer.
Well, and this is really a show, right? I mean, I loved what you said, Jeremy, about what is the legacy and what is the look back and who's all going to be there from the past, because these conventions really tell a story. And we saw that with the RNC, the people that Donald Trump had selected, family members, business colleagues, former foes of Donald Trump. So beyond that, I mean, are we expecting to see business? Are we expecting to see education, different speakers along those lines?
I would expect to. The Democratic Party has long drawn in those kind of celebrity figures. I think they're very different business figures than the RNC draws in, but I think we'll see some business community leaders speak just to try and solidify a wide tent base for the Democrats.
I think we'll see union members as well. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see more legacy folks than we saw at the RNC. For example, like Scott Walker was there, but he did not have the speaking role or the like star role that he did in, like, for example, the 2012 RNC in Tampa, where he and Paul Ryan were very much seen as the rising stars of the party, and Ryan wasn't even there. And Walker was there, but not in a big star role. So it was, it'll be interesting to see for the DNC if they do have more of those legacy members. But somebody said, this is not your father's RNC that we're seeing in Milwaukee. This is a different crowd.
Well, if we thought it was a lot of work getting ready for the RNC in 2 years here in Milwaukee, imagine what they're feeling in Chicago, right? With like a new candidate with 4 weeks to go.
It certainly does not sound like it's going to be that contested. It seems like everybody is very much falling in line and supporting Kamala Harris. So I don't, I think what did Manchin float challenging her for like 8 hours or something. But it seems like everyone is very much supporting Kamala Harris. And I don't think we're going to see a lot of like floor fights over her. But it is, I mean, when is the last time that candidates had 105 days only to win a presidential race?
Very good. Thanks for the discussion, guys. Jeremy Janine with Urban Milwaukee, Mary Spicuzza, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. It's 9:58. Stay tuned for The Upswing with Jeff Sherman. I'm Tracy Johnson in for Steve Scafidi.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers, where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
As you age, you start noticing pain in your joints that didn't used to be there. But you don't have to live in pain. When joint pain becomes a reality, schedule your free pain evaluation with Rejuvenex. We'll find where your pain lives and inject powerful, FDA-approved medicines that reduce inflammation and pain, while improving mobility in hips, shoulders, elbows, and knees, with some patients experiencing relief for greater than 2 years before repeating the process. While treatments like stem cells can cost close to $10,000 per joint, at Rejuvenex, the cost for your injection can be as low as $65, and almost all